Well, hey folks, Jason here. We are starting episode 5 of our Christmas story as we're going through the Christmas story in Matthew. We'll jump over to Luke later. But just a shout out to 3 of my followers. They asked me to change the camera angle to more of a panorama view. I didn't like it at first because it doesn't look like I'm looking at you in the eyes. But they say it's a better quality, so we'll go with that. So if I'm not staring like right in the camera, you'll understand why. Anyway, as we start chapter 2 of Matthew, we're going to go into a very familiar part of the story, even if you've never read the Bible before. And this is about Jesus being born in Bethlehem, and the wise men coming to visit and following the star. So let's just jump right on in here, and we'll get going. Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose, and have come to worship him." When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for it is written by the prophet, And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod summoned the wise men secretly and ascertained from them what time the star appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word that I too may come and worship him." After listening to the king, they went on their way, and behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them until it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. So we're going to stop there for right now, and we'll pick up the rest of chapter 2 in the next video. But let's talk about these wise men. Other translations call them Magi. And they came from the east. So we need to ask a few questions. The first one is, how did people outside of Israel get a hold of the scriptures, especially if they came from the east? And we know that in 586 BC, the Babylonians came in and ransacked Israel, killed a ton of people, and took the cream of the crop back to Babylon. Now, as you look into the Old Testament, you have the major and minor prophets. So basically from Isaiah all the way to Malachi, those are the major and minor prophets. And all of these minus 4 are talking about, please repent, or the Babylonians are going to come in and carry us away to Babylon, and we'll stay there for 70 years, and then we will return. The 4 books that don't talk about that, but were written in captivity, in Babylonian captivity, was the book of Lamentations, written by Jeremiah, the book of Daniel, written by Daniel, Zechariah, and Haggai. Now, Daniel was carted off to Babylon, and he rose to a point in government. He was considered one of the wise men, if you will. He was able to interpret dreams and all of this. And From tradition, what we understand is he started an astronomy school. Now, at the end of 70 years, the Israelites were allowed to go back to Jerusalem, back to Israel. And two books in the Old Testament that document the people that came back is Ezra and Nehemiah. And Daniel's not listed there, so we assume that Daniel stayed the rest of his life in Babylon, and he created a school. Now, this school would have been in operation about 550 years, and so Daniel would have brought the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Bible. He would have brought Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles. He would have brought Job, Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, and then all of the Old Testament major and minor prophets except for the ones I just told you about. So in this school, he would have been teaching these things that would have been passed down. So these people would have been from Babylon, which is modern-day Iraq. Now, we see that they saw a star. And this star has some unique qualities to it. It says that it moved around, and so some people think it's a comet, but stars don't just move and stop. Forgive the lights in the back, it's just the way my head is moving. Anyway, stars don't do that. So down in the description, I have a link to a great video. It's about an hour long, called The Star of Bethlehem. The first 4 minutes or so goes over some scriptures, and then it goes into actual astronomy and NASA computer stuff. Take a look at it. If you have about an hour to watch it, it's really good. So here we see that these Magi came, and they came to worship the King of the Jews. Now, Herod summoned the chief priests and asked, where is this king supposed to be? And they said, Bethlehem, according to the scriptures. Now, this is from the book of Micah, and Micah was written about 750 BC. So this was 700 to 750-year-old prophecy. And these chief priests would have known this. Now, we also see that when Herod heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Herod was a madman. He was very intelligent. He did a lot of great building projects, but he was insane. And he was not a true king of Israel. He did not come from the line of David. He was placed there by the Romans. And he was a despicable person. And what we see in the last part of the reading is that the wise men have a dream to return a different way. Herod, as we're going to see, wanted Jesus dead. And why is that? Why would Herod want Jesus dead? Well, the obvious thing is Herod's king. He does not want another king to be there. But that's actually the secondary reason. As we go into the next video, you'll see the primary reason why Herod wanted Jesus dead. So stay tuned for the next video.